pretty much blow out Washington tonight. The final score, Bears 40, Washington 20. A incredible night for DJ Moore as he goes 8 catches, 230 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The Bears beat Washington 40-20. Justin Fields was mostly excellent tonight as well. So much to discuss in this Bears 20-point victory, least of which is the fact that the Bears have ended what was now a 14-game losing streak. It is over. We can stop talking about that particular narrative, and this win for the Bears may also start to settle down a couple of other narratives, one being the job security of the head coach, and of course the other one being the starting quarterback Justin Fields, who from my money has now had 2 straight good games for the Bears, except those critical errors last week. As we officially welcome everybody into the Great Clips post-game show right here on Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score, presented by Tullamore Dew. We are open for you. We want your instant reaction to this Bears 40-20 win over Washington, 312-644-6767. But I now turn to my former Bears, Olin, Kreutz, and Patrick Mannelly for their instant reaction to this game. Olin, we will start with you. What did you think of this Bears' first win in almost a year, 40-20 over Washington?
I think you couldn't help but be excited, man, on a day that we get some bad news to kick off the pregame show, Pat. We got some bad news about Dick Butkus. And me and you said going in, and Pat said it best, man, Grote. Pat was like, on nights like tonight, it's almost like, 1999 up in Green Bay, Walter Payton's funeral. We win that game. It's like Dick Butkus is with this team. This team felt them. They went out there. They played lights out. All the injuries they had, they showed grit. They showed toughness. Look, for one night, we're not going to go overboard, Pat, but I got to give this team credit for one night. The night that everyone's saying Coach Eberflus will be gone on Monday after this loss. They have no running backs. They got a fullback. I have more carries than him, carrying the ball at the end of the game, right? They're getting sacks, as my co-host called it, Pat Mannelly, and I was taking my drinks. So we're going to have a drinking tank game every time they get a sack. I couldn't be more excited, more happy for this football team. The grit and the guts they showed. They had cornerbacks. I'm looking through my roster again. Who the hell's on the field, Pat? They're blitzing them. They're getting after Haugh. Haugh, hey, man, you want to hold the ball all night in the pocket? By all means, please do it.
Hey, Grote, that's the first time we've seen a smile on that sideline, for the Bears sideline, in almost a year. How good did that feel? That was just – I got a big smile right now looking at you guys. But here's the thing. Olin, you talked about it that – you kind of gave a little bit of a pregame speech at the end of our pregame of how they had to play. They came out there and they fought. They played with more effort. They played harder. The Commanders did not look like they wanted to be out there. The Bears did. Their backs were against the wall. I'm sure they heard all the noise about Eberflus, and they feel all that stuff, losing all these weeks in a row. They came out there and played hard. I'm proud of them. That's, as being an alumni, it's been hard to answer all these questions. Are they that bad? And, we talk about them on the radio. I talk to them about with friends. They came out there and they played their butts off. And then they stumbled a little bit in the second half, and they figured it out. And like you said, Olin, injuries. I mean, you got a fullback going in there to help finish off the game, and they do it. The O-line gets it done in the run game. Lucas Patrick goes out. Cody Whitehair has to move in. Struggles with the snaps, whatever. But they get it done. And then Justin Fields and DJ Moore, what a show. What a show. We're lucky to see that. Hopefully that's our future. Hopefully that's what we get from that traded first-round pick down to get Darnell Wright. How about that block Darnell Wright had? That summed up the game. That summed up the fight. You know what I mean? When he ran over that DB and continues running, that was awesome.
The guy wasn't even there. He wasn't even there, Pat. Can I shout out the big uglies, Grote? Can I shout them out, the offensive line?
Yes.
Shout out Coach Morgan. Look, I know we'll come back to it. They'll say, hey, man, it's one game. I know. But give them their credit tonight. We picked them, obviously, Pat, on the day Dick Butkus passes. We cannot pick against the Chicago Bears. And they woke tonight, and like you said, man, DJ Moore, if there was questions if this guy's a number one wide receiver, I think they got to put those to rest now. Was he out of bounds? I don't know if he was even out of bounds. Should he have a 300-yard game? I don't know.
I don't know why they didn't review that. That makes no sense to me. I mean, he had a chance to. I don't know. The NFL's crazy, whatever, man. It's just fun to watch this team. Olin, imagine what that locker room's feeling like right now.
Oh, man, I hope they enjoy it, Pat. I hope they enjoy it. They
that flight back is going to feel good.
10 days to sit on a win, right? 10 days, sit on a win, enjoy it, get better, get healthy, get some guys back. When Tevin Jenkins was in the lineup, you can see the difference with that big man at left guard. Get some guys healthy. Hopefully, eventually Braxton Jones will come back. Who knows where this offense finally goes to? Think about this, guys. Even with the score to 40 points, he misses Mooney twice. I mean, they'll go back and watch film. Yeah. There was more points out there. There's more points out there to be had. Hey, I've been hard on Luke Getty. Luke Getty, congratulations, man. Good game plan tonight. You had your offense rolling. Good concepts, good schemes. The quarterback is getting better, Grote. You said it.
Yeah, I mean, the very first drive of the game, and I know that Justin Fields has looked pretty good early on in contest, but that first drive and the 20-yard touchdown pass to DJ Moore on a 3rd and frickin' 14. To eventually make it 7-0. That's, I mean, obviously great play. I mean, some zip on the pass by Justin Fields, but that's a ballsy call, too, for Luke Getty. I thought he redeemed himself in a lot of ways during this game in terms of his play calls. How about some of the short yardage, the 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 stuff that they were doing? I forget what they call it, but it's the play that Philadelphia started.
Yeah, the brotherly love, right?
The brotherly love. That's it. The brotherly love play. It works.
Right.
I thought it was interesting, too, that they said, at least on the TV broadcast, that that's going to be something that the Rules Committee is going to have to look at to maybe abolish. I don't know how you guys feel about that, and I don't want to make a huge topic out of it, but the Bears did employ it and were using it, and I do wonder what you guys think about a play like that. Is it fair?
It's better than Cole Kmet.
That's true. No, I mean, that's the bigger point. The bigger point is it's like Luke Getty figured some things out, like some of the stuff that we were all, not that I'm positive he's not taking any of his cues from us, but a lot of the stuff that we were shouting about and wanting to see from Luke Getty, guys, I think we're starting to see, including using the quarterback right now, essentially 2 weeks in a row. But this game in particular, the way he used Justin Fields with the passing game and with some of the designed runs, and you could tell that Fields has been coached up better, or something is starting to sink in for him.
Go ahead.
It seems like something's no, it's all right. It seems like something's clicked for Justin Fields.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. These last 2 weeks, okay, the last quarter, half quarter last week, he struggled, right? But it just seems like his confidence is there. I don't know if it's the game plan, getting him going early, different play calls of not sitting him in the pocket as much. But he seems like he's letting it rip. You know, we've all talked about let it rip, let it rip. He seems like he's doing that now. I don't know what it is, but he looks like a different quarterback out there. He looks very comfortable. Looks like the game slowed down for him. You know, you always want that as you are a young player in the NFL, because that thing is coming 100 miles an hour. It's different, right? But once you get slows down, it's like, oh, okay, I can get this. And that's what it looks like to me from the outside watching him play a little bit. I don't know about you, Olin.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right, Pat. I think when he said, F it, I'm going to go out there and play and just do the things I need to do, the things I'm comfortable with. And obviously it didn't click in the first Kansas City game, or we didn't see it. But he told us he did it, right? They asked him. They said, did you feel like you played like that? He said, yes. And it's continued ever since. Obviously, like Grote talked about, late in the last game, couple mental mistakes. But the first 3 quarters, man, they were on fire. Came right back out tonight against a D-line that you thought that was the biggest mismatch we've seen in a while, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen that our offensive line versus their defensive line. Lucas Patrick goes to the locker room. This Justin Fields, remember now, there was a time Cody almost had the ball over his head. He caught it and ran it for 8 yards, right? What do we keep asking him to be, Pat? We've asked for him to be what on this show 1,000,000 times? Yep. We've asked for him to be a multiplier.
Yep.
That's exactly what he was tonight. You don't think, Grote, his teams were pumped up when he was trying to run guys over for first downs, right? He was getting after people tonight. You couldn't ask anything more out of Justin Fields. I'll keep going back to this. I know it's one night, but you can't help but be excited from what you saw from a Chicago Bears team tonight, where the head coach is supposed to get fired, where the offense wasn't supposed to move the ball because the O-line couldn't block him. Justin Fields was making a sandwich in the pocket on the first few drives, right?
Yes, he
That's
was.
how long he had back there in the pocket. I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe watching that game. It was enjoyable to watch. You couldn't help but cheer for them tonight on a night with the news we got about Dick Butkus. We couldn't help but cheer hard for them. Everyone wanted to win here in Illinois, and they gave us one. And they just got to find a way to continue this. But Justin Fields is certainly taking steps in the right direction and playing quarterback from the pocket and out of the pocket when he needs to.
Amen. That's the voice of Olin Kreutz that you are hearing. Also, Patrick Mannelly. I am in for Mully today here on Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score. It is the Great Clips post-game show presented by Tullamore Dew. The Bears win. They beat Washington 40-20. And as you've heard Olin allude to a couple of times, yes, we did lose Dick Butkus today. The legendary Bears linebacker died at the age of 80. The only good part about this is that we get to hear Dick Butkus stories and we get to see all the Dick Butkus highlights. I don't know, guys, that there is a better highlight pack. I mean, there's a lot, like Lawrence Taylor, for instance, Barry Sanders, watching their highlights, but I don't think there's a more devastating highlight, the one that we always see with Dick Butkus, that is better in the National Football League than what we saw or see from him all the time.
It's got to be the
set the
best.
standard. Pat talked about it earlier. He set the standard in the NFL. He is the guy we all look up to. We talked about in the pregame show. When you're in his presence, you couldn't help but be nervous because the way he played the game and the way he carried himself, you knew this man was capable of violence. When you talk about Grote, you talk about this guy is a football player, right? That's like the biggest compliment you can give a guy like me who loves football. Olin Kreutz was a football player. Probably no one's ever said that. But if anybody ever did, I think it would be a big compliment. This guy was the ultimate football player, Pat. He's the guy everyone's compared to when you hit, when you play physical, when you run, when you get after people. You talk about Dick Butkus all the time. This guy is a legend, especially in Illinois, but everywhere, man. I grew up in Haugh. I knew about Dick Butkus. My dad talked about him. People talked about him there.
The best defensive highlights you can probably find anywhere, right? So any young kid, any young person listen to this that have never really seen it, go down the YouTube wormhole. Just Google Dick Butkus highlights and enjoy the heck out of it.
Amen.
Football's played differently now, but man, that was a game back then. That was a real man.
Amen. And Olin, for the record, I would never not call you a football player, just so you know. Like I would.
Behind my back, I'm sure you wouldn't. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I may not even do that behind your back.
I don't talk bad about you unless I'm behind your back. Okay, I just want you to know that.
Does that mean you got my back, Olin, or no?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Bears win. They beat Washington 40-20. I don't know if you guys could see in the chat, but lots of people want to check in and talk about a Bears win, and isn't that nice to hear? The Bears win this game. It was it got a little bit shaky, it got a little scary in the second half because the Bears had a 27-3 lead. Most of it sort of just felt like, oh no, not this again. But the Bears got their acts together in a legit win, ending on the Justin Fields 56-yard touchdown pass to DJ Moore, where Kendall Fuller tried to jump the route. And Moore ends up getting the best of it and gets over 230 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns in this Bears win. So let's go right to the top of our phone call chart, 312-644-6767 here on the Great Clips postgame show presented by Tullamore Dew. We start with Maurice in Avalon Park. What's going on, Maurice? You're on the score.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
What's up, Maurice?
Hello. I am pleased with this win. Justin Fields looked like a quarterback, but this is only a small sample size. I want to see him continue that. Another thing that was big about this game, if you noticed, that there were no stupid penalties by the offensive line or the defense. The offense protected Fields. I I'm just happy they won the game. It ends that stupid streak.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Maurice. Yeah, guys, I think it stops a lot of talk for now, or at least puts it on pause. I don't think we're going to be talking about Matt Eberflus's job. I definitely don't think we're going to be talking about Justin Fields and whether it's time for Tyson Bagent.
No, but we got to give Matt Eberflus credit, right? We talked about the second half when they started coming back. He got in his little cover 2 shell and played soft, and then after that, he said, "Screw it, I'm bringing the house. Even if I got young guys back there, maybe they know how to play man-to-man better than they know how to play coverage right now because that's just one-on-one. I'm bringing the house. I'm going to get after Sam Howell," and it worked. You got scared on a couple of the big plays, but overall, it ended up working for him. So I got to give him credit on his coaching job.
Yeah, and like Maurice talked about, right? There were the pre-snap penalties, even with a new center. There wasn't a lot of them. Now the snaps, Cody's got to work on, obviously. But to Maurice's point, Pat, we talked about after the first week, we heard them say we had no energy, we had no focus, and I argued, well, that starts a long time before the game, right? Well, if you see a game like this, you know what that tells me? They're in practice and they're working on the right things.
Yeah.
And they're buying into what their coach still saying, because that's what we wondered out loud. Is this team still buying into Coach Eberflus? Are they doing the things he's asking them to do? And the answer is yes. Right? The answer is yes when you see a game like tonight, because the only thing we got, Pat, are the games in the film. So when I look at the game in the film tonight and I see them overcome, Grote talked about 3rd and 14, right after Darnell Wright gave up the sack to Montez Sweat. They come right back, they protect it up, and they execute to DJ Moore. And look, if guys aren't jumping off sides, even though you're rotating offensive linemen, you are working on that stuff. Guys are paying attention to what you're saying, and they are focused in practice.
That's great points. And they won the takeaway battle.
Yes.
Finally.
Yeah, it was
Strowman,
crucial.
Again,
Oh, man.
Strowman gets a pick. I mean, it's a great interception there.
Sure.
Grote, who's the new cornerback they picked up this week?
Oh, yeah. I'm drawing a blank on his name, too. Yeah.
Was he
I know
wearing
who you're
number
talking about.
30? Because I think he was out there, Pat, to your point.
Yeah, he
Jalen
got out
Jones is
there.
blitzing. I'm like, who the hell's at the left cornerback?
Yes, exactly.
Well,
You know? I'm scared. I'm like, don't blitz with that guy on the field. I'm worried about it, right?
Yep.
And Greg Stroman Jr., too, he had the pick, as you guys were talking about. He also had that sack he had in the third quarter as Washington was driving. They were gaining momentum. But I thought that was huge as well. So, I mean, thumbs up to Greg Stroman in this game. It's
Really
the new
good
Stro
game,
show.
man. Really good game. Really good
yeah.
game by him.
Yep.
The cornerback coach, I mean, all these guys, we all know what Alan Williams' specialty was. It was secondary, man. They lost a secondary coach, defensive coordinator, and they've lost all their starting cornerbacks. These guys are all out, and they're out there playing and winning the game in Washington with no cornerbacks and no running backs.
Gentlemen, we got to take our first
dogs,
break.
Right? I will let you, but they were 6.5-point dogs. And they
Yeah,
won by
they
20.
were.
I got to give them props, man. I'm happy as can be, man. Get to that break.
Man. I'm not done. I'm not killing them tonight, Pat. I don't care. We can do it later.
I know.